All right, so a little bit administrative note. The Disaster Recovery Center has moved from, it's now located at the Pahoa Community Center, which is located at 15-3016 Kauhali Street, which is in Pahoa. Hours of operation are weekdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Also, I want to recognize Representative Joy San Buenaventura, and then Councilwoman Eileen O'Hara, and from the Governor's Office, Fresh Onishi. Okay, tonight's meeting format's gonna change. Also, we're gonna allow a little bit more time for questions and answers, so we'll make the briefings quicker. And then we'll evaluate how it goes tonight, and then base our next meetings upon that. So we understand you guys' frustrations. We cannot understand how you're feeling as far as if you live in Leilani Estates or areas that have been overrun by lava. But we understand your frustration. And people are saying that we lack empathy, which is totally wrong, because I've grown up on this island my entire life. And I've seen other people go through this as well. I know what you guys are feeling as far as losing stuff, losing something you had all your life. So don't say that about us. Civil defense, the whole county, the whole government is working 24/7 from the get-go when HVO reported the seismicity, the intrusions coming into the area. And we're not going to stop. We're going to be here for you guys, throughout. So don't call us, what you've been calling us, no empathy, no feelings, because that's not at all what it is. So despite that, as the civil defense administrator, with all this sensitivity and feelings for you guys, I still have to toe the law. I still have to be responsible for your safety. And I am mandated, the civil defense is mandated, the county is mandated to keep you all safe, to look out for your private property. So, no matter what comes forward, no matter what you guys want to do, if it's going to violate what we push out there for your safety, for private property, for business, it's not going to fly with us, okay? So these meetings are intended to be an open environment, and we're going to do that. We're going to, we've expanded to where we get the questions and answers. We'll hear you guys out, and we'll answer your questions. Like Will said, we've got all the department heads here, the different level of folks here to answer your questions, and we'll provide those answers. But there are going to be some ground rules. And we're going to have a moderator, and she'll expand that as well. So what we discussed, the laws, the policies that we put in place, this is such a dynamic situation that, what is discussed now, depending on what the volcano does, it could change in the next 24 hours, the next week. So we ask you guys to be flexible, because this is a dynamic situation. So week after week, I ask you guys to be flexible and to be alert. And as part of our new format, we're going to have a moderator, like I said. Civil Defense has asked Julie Mitchell from the Kuakahi Mediation Center to do the mediation tonight. So she's going to come up and start the process.
Aloha. So I wanted to just start out by thanking Pi'ilani Kahavaloa for opening up with a blessing, and then we didn't have the names up there. Will, Managing Director for the county, and of course that was Talmadge Magno, Head of Civil Defense. I like to do names just in case people are here for the first time. So we're a nonprofit organization. We service East Hawaii. We provide neutral third parties to do various things from mediations, facilitations, and we also do some trainings. So I put in the back some of our brochures and cards if you want to know a little bit more about who we are and what we do. And what my job is just to be a neutral third party that'll help run the meeting and act as the moderator tonight. And I really appreciate working with various folks who put a lot of time and energy and collaboration into creating tonight's meeting. We want to make sure we ensure that we hear from a variety of voices tonight. So we've added a half an hour onto the meeting. So we're making it from an hour to an hour and a half tonight, where there'll be a longer period for public questions and comments. And I just want to acknowledge how hard this has been on everyone, whether you're living in Leilani, lost your home, you're working overtime every day with 7 days a week, 24/7 on call. It's really been tough for everyone. So my job as the moderator, I'm gonna manage the agenda and the flow. Could I get that back up there? And then I just want to go over Aloha etiquette. I always like to post up what my meeting expectations are. Somebody made these giant versions of it, which is great. So basically, if everyone here tonight, you listen to understand. If it's something you don't agree with, just listen. See if you can get where they're coming from. Let's be respectful to each other. We've all been through a lot. Be concise. So when we have the public comment period, we're going to have 2 minutes per person so that we can hear everyone. So keep it short. Avoid repetition. I'll talk more about that later. But basically, if someone already said what you're going to say, you can just take a pass. Agree to disagree. We all have different opinions here. There's, I don't know how many people here, a lot of people here. We're not all going to be on the same page. And if you disagree with something, just challenge that idea. Don't make it a personal attack on someone. And then also, if you have your cell phone or devices, use it appropriately. So, maybe you know what that means. Turn it off or take it outside if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick logistics. I think most of you have been here before, but if you haven't, the luas are on either side of the door, men's, women's, some water back there. It's kind of hot in here if you need some water. Agenda for tonight, we've already done the opening pule, the mayor's message, Talmadge's welcome and introductions, and we're going to start on follow-up questions from last week's meeting. So basically, we're trying to be responsive to what people ask, so that's going to be in 4 parts. We're going to talk about housing, cell communications in restricted areas, lava viewing, DLNR citations in restricted areas, and placards and restricted area policy. We're going to try to keep that short. So people who are speaking, if I start moving over to you, that means that you've been talking for a while and I'm wanting to move along. So I'm just giving you the heads up to our presenters as well. Then we're going to move into a question and comment period. So what we're going to do is we have this microphone here. There'll be a line. You can stand up. And we're going to take all your questions and comments at one time. And then somebody's going to be recording down the questions. And then at the end, we're going to collectively respond, because people might be commenting or questioning on the same thing. So we want to avoid repetition so that we can answer all together. Okay, and we're going to end on time. We're going to end at 6:30. So first, we're going to have a message from Roy Takamoto. He's the mayor's executive assistant, and he's going to talk on housing. Yeah. Yes? That's you, housing, yes? The follow-up questions from last week's meeting, that was me just announcing that we're going to do this, and then you starting.
Okay, I know everybody is really anxious about housing. There are a lot of things happening, and it's more like invisible energies that I have to report on that hopefully will turn into breaking waves in the next few weeks. But the 2 sources of energy that are happening behind the scenes are, number one is we're working very closely with FEMA to activate temporary housing solutions. So those of you who are staying in the shelter, or those of you who are wearing thin, your family and friends, we will hopefully have solutions for you that will take you through the next few months that you need, whether it's 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 18 months. until we get you to a permanent solution. So we are working on those temporary housing solutions. You know, we had those clickers. If you've been to the meetings in the past couple weeks, we used some of that input to prepare another source of energy that's building behind the scenes, is a legislative package that we'll be working closely with council members, governor's office, state legislators, to marshal the resources that we need to find the permanent solutions. These will be in the order of millions of dollars that we will be seeking. So while they're working on finding these resources, we'll continue working on the permanent solutions that will maximize the choices that we can offer to you folks. So the whole thing is to give you choice, but how you select among that choice, we'll also try to figure out a way to establish like a caseworker system so that we can have one-on-one solutions for you. So these are things happening in the background, so please, we appreciate your patience, but know that things are moving.
Thank you. Okay, the next report out we're going to have is on cell communications in restricted areas, and that's going to be Talmadge again.
All right, we got some good news. After last week's meeting, AT&T went to their tower in Hawaiian Beaches and kind of gave it a little bit more power and some redirection. So there should be some increased, I guess, coverage down to the Government Beach Road area. They also designated a site up in Leilani that they're going to put in one of their cell on wheels instruments. They got to hook up with power right now, and that'll increase coverage for Nanavali and the Wawa area. So we're working on that, and we're working on Verizon as well, because we know there's no coverage as that. So we're working on, that's ongoing, so it just should get better with that coverage. So that's all I got for cell service.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Ron Whitmore. He's with the County Department of Research and Development, and he's going to share with us about lava viewing.
Good evening. My name is Ron Whitmore. I'm Deputy Director of the County Department of Research and Development. Last week, Diane Lay, our director, was here giving you an update on lava viewing. And I wanted to speak to some of the comments and questions that were raised during last week's session. To start off with, the lava viewing program is still under development. We're moving as quickly as possible to get something on the ground. I'd like to cover three main items tonight. The first is that the focus of the program is on viewing within restricted access areas. You'll hear more about those later tonight from Talmadge. But just want to emphasize that as the current laws and regulations permit, viewing sites outside of restricted areas are currently permitted, and I know a number of people are pursuing those. Second thing I wanted to cover is that the details of the LAVA program are being worked out with state, nonprofit, and visitor industry partners. The basic concept is to use contractors. The basic concept really is to let the government do what it does well by establishing parameters and guidelines, and let the private sector do what it does well. We have a well-established visitor industry here, so we'd like to leave to the experts what they know how to do well, which is provide high-quality visitor experiences for people. And so we would like to rely on a contractor to help identify one or more sites, depending on conditions. We've received many suggestions, and we welcome more. So if you have additional ideas, don't hesitate to call us or let us know. And the idea also is to have off-site parking and then a shuttle service to sites. And that's due in part based on advice we've received from the scientists who warn us that because conditions are ever changing and there is such a wide diversity of hazards, it's important that we have a limited number of people at various sites and that there's opportunities for very quick egress if conditions change. And so we'll be using a shuttle service to designated sites. And those shuttles will be led by professional tour operators who have the proper cultural, scientific, and safety training. The third thing I wanted to cover was just to be clear that there's 4 main goals of the lava viewing program that's under development. The first, as has been mentioned many times, is of course safety. That's always the primary goal for the county. And much of the delay, unfortunately, has been due to the fact that every time we think we may have a good site or set of sites selected, conditions change, and we find that it's no longer viable. We all know this, but we're dealing with an unprecedented event and an unprecedented number of hazards at the same time. We have lava flowing at higher volumes and at faster paces than we've ever experienced. We have blockages, frequent spillovers and brush fires. We have gas hazards, we have lays, we have lava bombs, we've even had lava tornadoes. And so just to remind everybody, this is an ongoing natural disaster, and so we have to absolutely consider conditions and safety at all times. Second goal is to minimize community impacts. There was some concern raised at the last session about impacts on local communities, and that's a very high priority for us. We certainly want to manage road congestion, limit hours of operation to minimize impacts on residential communities in the area, and absolutely honor cultural traditions and practices. We know this is your home, and so we absolutely have to respect it. Third goal is affordable, convenient visitor experience, particularly for Kama'aina, families who've been impacted, and school children. We know there's extremely high demand for lava viewing, and we want to accommodate that. And so we want to offer a combination of online and same-day reservations and absolutely affordable fees, especially for local folks. And then finally, the final goal is opportunities for impacted local businesses. We understand our responsibility to support and advance economic development in the area, particularly for the heavily impacted communities of Pahoa and Volcano. And so we want to absolutely make sure that everything is done to establish viewing sites that support local businesses to the extent possible. I welcome any questions during the question and answer session, and I'll be staying afterwards if you have any one-on-one questions or suggestions for viewing sites. Thank you.
Okay, and then the last part of our responses to last time, and then we'll go into questions and comments. We're going to talk about the placards and restricted area policy back with Talmadge. And I think there's a PowerPoint for this as well. Oh, Lino. I'm sorry, Lino. I almost forgot Lino. Lino is with the state DLNR, and he's going to be talking about citations in restricted areas. Sorry, Lino.
Thank you, Julie. Aloha, everyone. My name again is Lino Kamaka. I'm the branch chief for conservation enforcement under DLNR. I was given notes here as to what you guys want to talk about, but I know one thing I've heard through rumors and some of the officers, even my coworkers, that there's inconsistencies with people getting cited. I'm going to explain. The rules are black and white, okay? The inconsistencies appears when the officer uses his or her discretion to cite someone. Okay, I don't want that mixed up. It's not the policies that Talmadge has or the Hawaii County Code. If you guys want to look it up, it is a Hawaii County Code 7-10. You can look it up. So the officers do have the discretion. Okay, and before I go any further, I will not speak in behalf of Hawaii County Police Department, okay? They're there. You can talk to them and address questions to them later. To date, there's approximately 94 tickets given by DoCare. And it's not something we like doing. Please understand, under me, including me, there's 22 officers for the whole island. And as you guys know, we are the Big Island. Our priority is a lava flow. That's a direction came from the governor's office. What does that do for the rest of our natural and cultural resources that we have out there? They've been pushed back. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm asking all of you to pass the word on. Please, for your safety, don't go down there. Don't go in a restricted area just to get a video shot or a picture. That happens, some of us got to go in, whether it's DoCare, HPD, or even HFD. just for notes, I had talked to Chief Rosario this morning. In a short period of time, since the lava flood started, they had to make 5 flights of rescue to take someone out of there. It seems like a low number, but considering the short amount of time, that is a very high number. I don't want to jeopardize DOCARE officers, HPD officers, or even HFD fire department. Okay, so we're there to protect you guys. We feel for you guys. We understand. We want to make sure that everybody can get through this together and not blame or point fingers at anybody. We're very compassionate, believe it or not, okay? As much as the social media disagree, we feel for you guys. We truly do. I live in Captain Cook Corner. We don't have something like this, but we do get the wraparound from the VOG, you call it. Okay, we do take it serious. I don't have much to say from what Heather, whatever you want me to say, but I will be available till whatever you guys want to talk about, anything, any specific question you guys have. I'm going to stay here as long as it takes. I'll be back there, so please come by. We can just talk, sorry. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Lino. Now we are going to talk about placards of the restricted area policy with Talmadge. Oh, do we have the slides? So we need to go up? Someone's got it. Oh. Things are happening behind me.
All right. Try to clear up some confusions and moving forward because I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. So placards and the restricted area policy. There has been confusion on access regulations in restricted areas and the placard identification system process. So ever since about a week, we started putting together all the policies, and they're being updated and reviewed right now. But some of the stuff that's going to do is establish the official boundaries of the restricted area. And that you can see the restricted areas include Leilani Estates in 2 different phases. All the areas east, including Pomaikai Street, is the mandatory evacuation order area, accessed by escort only. The blue area of Leilani Estates is still restricted, is by placard. And we'll go over the different elements that make up the placard system. Also, the Papaya Farms Road area, Noni Farms, all that area is placard area as well. So the map sets eligibility requirement for property owners, business owners, and residents to access the restricted area. Let's see. The policy will explain the process to obtain a placard, and it lists the prohibited behavior in the restricted area. This policy is both to protect residents and private property. From early on, we're police, DLNR, CD, we're taking reports, we're hearing and taking reports of theft and looting in the restricted area, and this is all part of it. So therefore, the requirements for access are strict, and movement within the restricted areas are tightly controlled. So the following are the main points of the policy. Placards are issued to property owners, business owners, and residents. That will include your workers. Also property caretakers and business employees on a case-by-case business. Placard holders may get advance authorization for delivery and service technicians and their vehicles to access their property. Again, these individuals, like anybody that's in this area, must be escorted by the placard holder. As in the past, the applicants for placards must show proof of eligibility. That means something to show that you you have that property in there or that business. Fraudulent placard application will result in permanent placard revocation and plus the citation, possibly arrest. Placards are issued by civil defense at this point in our Hilo office. We haven't moved out to the forward operating base as of yet, so it's still in Hilo. And placards are granted access to a specific address. If you are found in an area that is not between the entry point of where you get in, the entry point to your specific address, you face citation and could have your placard revoked. Placard holders may bring in guests into the restricted area in their vehicle, but only to that specific location designated on your placard. Placard holders who make multiple trips into the restricted area on the same day with different guests in each trip may be suspected of operating a tour business and could be cited and the placard removed or revoked. Media tours are the responsibility of civil defense. The National Guard was running them, they've left. Now civil defense is running the media tours. If you're found with a member of the media in the restricted area, you could be cited and have your placard revoked. Escorting persons or groups to view the lava is strictly prohibited. Placard holders found to be conducting tours will be cited and will have their placards revoked. The county allowed residents to return to certain areas within Leilani so their lives could regain some normalcy. However, what we learned is that while the eruption continues, life in Leilani is not normal. In fact, it is clear that life will never return to how it was before and that a new normal has been established. This new normal means there will be enforced limits on free movement within the restricted areas and tight access controls. Again, this is to protect both people and property. These regulations have come about by events that are beyond the county's control. Living within the voluntary evacuation area is a choice. If you choose to remain on your property in the restricted area, you must abide by this policy. If you cannot abide by this policy, you may want to consider other housing or business options. Thank you.